Salutations, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. V back with another casted game of Age of Empires 3. And after my last video, which I'm not gonna lie, was pretty pessimistic, was pretty emotional, and while I stand behind every word I said in that video, and I'm glad it seems like a lot of people enjoyed it, and if you did, that's great. If you didn't, no hard feelings. I'm just glad to be getting back to some normal casted games, because that's what this channel is about, all right? That video was a one and done sort of thing. I just had to react to the news, and it seems like a lot of other people did too. A lot of people were more positive, and I'm certainly feeling more positive now that I've had time to think about it. I think the community is going to be just fine, DLC or no. I think AOE3's future is going to be extra bright. Now, about this game, it is delayed because after I made that video, I caught the flu, and that knocked me out for a couple of days, ruined my upload schedule, and then after the flu finally kind of drained out of my body, I know that sounds disgusting, and it was, then I lost my voice, which you can still probably kind of hear. That knocked me out for another couple of days, so yes, this video is a little bit late, but it is finally here, and we are back on track. So with all of that preamble out of the way, let's dive into the civilization intros. In the north of the map, playing in the color blue as the Spanish, we have Curter Boy, who is playing under the username Good Genetics. But don't be fooled, this man is one of the best in the business currently. Honestly, I'd put Curter Boy up against pretty much anyone in a best of 7. Now, do I think he'd beat a guy like Julian? Maybe not, but the guy is seriously very, very strong. I don't know a lot about his play style. I'm thinking he plays fairly standard, and taking a look at his Spain deck, it is a very, very traditional deck. So maybe he's not one for the super weird builds. A lot of the top players aren't, right? Because it just doesn't work on those really, really high level games where, you know, the other player's game knowledge is going to be so high that those finicky strategies aren't always going to be as effective as they would be against a player with less knowledge. But we'll have to see how the traditional Spain works against the mighty Kevin, who is playing in the color red in the south of the map as the Japanese, which is a criminally neglected civ, both on YouTube and on the ranked ladder, which sucks because they have such a unique mechanic, such a unique flavor, and such unique units. And I think it really comes from the fact that, you know, Japan can really struggle in that early game. We had that video where we asked, are they one of the worst civs? And I don't think they are. You know, at this point, I almost think that there are no worse civs. I think the balance right now is pretty good. And I will say, though, that, you know, Japan's early game is not always the easiest, especially against very strong rushes. But this may be the sort of matchup where they can thrive because Spain is not going to have a super early rush. You're not going to be seeing any 5 Hussar semi-FF with a normal Spain. You're going to be just seeing a blind FF into, you know, your very, very strong kind of Robrock composition, right? Your rods, your lancers, maybe some musk, maybe some skirm, and definitely those 2 falconets. And it's going to be up to Curter Boy to protect those 2 falconets and get as much damage on the Japanese infrastructure as possible. I know it can be really tempting to just kind of zoom around the map and siege shrines, but that does give Japan a lot of extra time to build up in their base and develop a stronger response. So we'll have to see if Curter Boy goes right for the throat or if he decides to chop off all of these limbs first. And taking a look at Kevin's scouting here, he actually has not scouted Curter Boy's base yet. I guess he probably knows what's coming, and he did age up with the Torii Gates, which is going to give him the rickshaw and the samurai. And I wonder if that samurai is going to go, probably not going to go for a village raid. Maybe he's going to try to siege, I don't know. Does he see this, does he see the town or the trading post? No, he does not. But if he does see the trading post, maybe he'll just kind of send his samurai over there to harass it. You know, make Curter Boy give some sort of response and try to save his trading post. But sending 5 shrines as his first card, definitely a very, very strong card. And an interesting deck overall from Kevin. It's got a lot of upgrades in it. He's got a Yuumi Archer attack. He's got an Ashy attack. He also has, a Cavalry upgrade as well. He's got Way of the Bow. And he's got close combat, which makes Ashies absolutely deadly against cavalry, even more deadly than they already are as heavy infantry. But this Curter Boy build, it's looking real smooth right now. He did pick up a lot of early game treasures, a lot of good wood treasures, and look at that, 530 already going in with the bishop. He's got gang saw. He's probably already have gotten his hunting dogs and his steel traps, and he's following that up with 5 vills as well. So again, very by the book. 3 vill into capitalism, into 700 coin, into 5 vill. And we'll have to see what he opens up with. So kind of like I mentioned earlier, you know, you could go with a more Robrot style. Robrot really likes to go with the early veteran musks. Or you could go for, you know, something maybe a little bit more skirm based if you think you're going to be dealing with a lot of Ashies from Japan. Speaking of Japan, it doesn't really look like Kevin is going to go for any H2 of his own. I think that's smart. Any H2 pressure that Japan can muster is really not going to hamper Spain's FF at all. Let's take a look at the shrines here. Ooh, okay. This is really safe shrine placement. He's really getting his nearby herds in. And I actually like this because these are going to probably stay unaffected by the Spanish push that is bound to come. Whereas if you stacked all your shrines here, right, at this bridge crossing, these would be taken down very, very quickly. So we'll have to see where he goes next. Maybe he goes for this kind of outlying herd. Maybe he starts to shift up to Curter Boy's side of the map, but we'll see. And it looks like that samurai did go for that trading post, and look at that. Brought it down to 700 HP. I mean, this samurai has 60 siege attack. This thing is a genuine threat. I mean, you can imagine one pikeman out here does nothing, but one samurai, this guy is a beast. And let's see, it looks like Pedro Pinzon is, why did I say that as a, why did I say that in a French accent? I don't know, but it's gonna be close, 200, 160 versus 36 HP of the samurai. Who's gonna go down first? Oh, the race is on. I think it's, no! Oh, much honor to you, sir. With 40 HP, the trading post stands, and that is the charge of the last samurai. And Curter Boy going up with the TC, and Kevin is also going up to H3 with the Shogun. Look at how many vills. I think he has max vills on here. Yeah, you can have up to 8 vills on a shrine before I think the speed of it kind of just starts to cancel out. And so he is wanting to get up as fast as possible. And I mean, it's definitely not as fast as Spain, but I mean, an 8-minute FF for Japan with the 5 shrine card, not terrible. And he aged up with the Daimyo. So Daimyo Masamune, he is going to be able to train units, which is an excellent bonus. It means that your reinforcement speed is going to be lightning fast, and it is going to buff units as well. I don't know what the buff is. I think it's HP, right? I don't exactly know what the percentage is. I'm guessing it's like 15-20%. Following that up with 8 Ashigerus and getting the disciplined Ashigerus right away. Meanwhile, let's take a look. We've kind of looked away from Curter Boy, and he's kind of gone into more of a boomy FF, double producing skirms. And what is going to be the first shipment? Oh, okay, so we sent 1,000 wood as his first shipment, and then Spanish gold. Okay, so this is definitely not an aggressive FF, though I do really like his town center placement. It secures another herd, it protects his one trading post he has, and it even secures this back coin mine. So I like this move by Curter Boy, but you know, there is something here. When you're playing against Japan, one of the things that you get told is don't let them boom, right? Don't let Japan sit back and get stronger, because that is when they become scary, right? Japan is weak when you can hit them early before they've developed. So is Curter Boy making a mistake here, not going with the standard aggressive Spanish play? We'll have to see. But Daimyo a little bit vulnerable here because as he's training, he cannot move. And oh, the flaming arrows! Are they going to get taken down by the 5 Lancers? They are, but the 5 Lancers going to take a lot of damage. At least 3 going down and 2 more at very low HP. And actually 1 flaming arrow going to survive. So not a bad engagement for Kevin at all there, and now he can put on constant harassment against this town center. Granted, flaming arrows as a siege weapon, their bombard attack is pretty lackluster at only 82, but he could even bring in these Ashigeros if he really wanted to take it down, though there are a formidable amount of Spanish skirmishers left alive. So we'll have to see what Kevin goes into next. I don't think he'll keep going into full Ashy. That seems a little bit reckless, seeing as how many skirms Curter Boy has, and Curter's micro is very, very good. 2 Falconets coming out now from Curter, which against flaming arrows, a little bit risky. But I think you need, what is it? I think you need 3 flaming arrows to one-shot a Falconet, so certainly 1 flaming arrow, not going to be that much of a risk, and they will certainly be very effective against the 2 Ashigeros. And oh, the Falconet's not quite in range, the speedy flaming arrow. I love the flame effect on the end of this cannon. God, this is such a cool looking unit. And the skirmishers going in, doing their work, even Minutemen being called, and more Lancers. Are these guys, no, they're not Sense. These are trained Lancers. And again, this is when the Spanish composition starts to get a little bit scary, right? He's got the anti-infantry cav, and he's got the anti-infantry infantry, and he's got the anti-infantry artillery against a big ball of infantry. So maybe not the best situation for our friend Kevin. But let's see. Kevin at 34 villagers, 160 shrine pops, so his economy is pretty good. And I noticed he did have the market, so I'm sure he's gotten his berry gathering upgrades and all that good stuff. What else has he sent? Okay, he sent 2 flaming arrows twice, and I think 8 Ashigeru once. And I think that's it. It's so hard to tell with the Japanese shipments. Oh, 1 Falconet going down, but it looks like the 2 flaming arrows are going to go down. Maybe all 3. Daimyo not going to get involved in the fighting, and I think that's smart by Kevin. One of the big mistakes that I think a lot of new Japanese players make is they get their Daimyo killed way too early, right? The use of the Daimyo is not as a fighting unit per se, it's as a buff and it's as a moving training facility. And so if you're playing Japan, okay, I know the Daimyo's tanky, right? I know it seems so juicy to just have him come in and soak damage, but that's not always the best long-term use for Daimyo Masamune. And what do we see coming here from Kevin? Bushido Principles, more Ashies, Water Wheel, and 1,000 coin. What could he be getting 1,000 coin for? I mean, he doesn't have any mercenaries. He's not going to H4, is he? No. No, he's not going to H4. Curter Boy, meanwhile, sending 9 rods, did send 4 Lancers. So, I mean, he's just continuing to beef up his military, and he's at 43 vills. He's at a 5 vill lead, though granted, he does not have shrines. And, ooh, he even goes for, oh, what trading post? Ooh, the Vasa. Did he get the Torp wagons? I don't know if he did or not. I don't think he did. No, he didn't. He's going for Golden Liberty. Interesting. Wait, am I stupid? No, House of Vasa is the Torps. I had a brain fart there, man. This is what happens when you get a fever. You just lose all of your knowledge. But double rod production and even making falconets while double producing vills. Okay, Spain is getting very, very scary. Meanwhile, Kevin, he's making 8 disciplined Ashigeros from the Daimyo. That's the other thing about the Daimyo is he can make so many more units. And, sending 2 cherry orchard rickshaws as well. Yep, definitely needs to replenish these cherry orchards. And that's one thing about Japan that you can't deny. They are very hard to raid because all of their villagers just stay nice and tidy under that TC. But it does mean you need to time out your berry replenishments very, very strategically. And it looks like Spain, I don't know. See, who am I, right, to criticize? But I almost wonder, is Curter Boy falling into the trap of just spending too much time running around chasing shrines? does he need to strike at the heart? Because at this point, he's got a scary army, right? He's got a bunch of veteran rods. He's got veteran skirms. He's got veteran lancers. He's got a couple of falconets. Is this the time to move, right? Is he giving Kevin just a little bit too much breathing space? I don't know. Let me know in the comments below. Maybe Curter's doing it exactly as he should, but something in me says that Kevin is happy to sacrifice those shrines for time. But we're going to see a fight here inevitably. Falconet's going to get a great shot. Oh no, Kevin! Pull back the Ashigarus! Oh man, so many free kills there for Curter. That was a great catch. Does take a hit on the Falconet, but I mean, for what was that, 7, 8, 9 free Ashies? I mean, these guys cost what? They cost a little bit more than Musketeers. So, you know, you certainly can't be throwing those guys away. They're not Strelets. More coming out of the barracks. Wait a second. That's not from the Daimyo. How is he training 10 Musketeers out of the barracks? I have no idea. I must be missing something here. I must be missing something. See, I know so little about Japan. It's because I see them so little on the ladder. And it looks like Curter Boy did get the torps, which are now going to go down. Unfortunate. Close combat coming in, so Ashigaru is going to do very well against the Lancers, but still no great answer against the Skirmishers, which at this point, that's a scary amount of skirms. I mean, that's 36 veteran skirms against, well, 57 Ashies, but I mean, infinite kiting ability due to the presence of no cav from Japan right now. Kevin is still on the 1 TC at 46 villagers and full shrine pop. Meanwhile, Curter Boy on 59 vills in 2 TCs and does have a couple of torps as well. We're seeing, ooh, some clubmen going to take out this Fawcett trading post. And I don't know, are Lancers the right way to respond? Don't those clubmen do pretty well against the Lancers? Oh, no, I guess not. Oh, man, they are infantry after all, but I feel like 5-on-5, the clubmen would actually trade pretty well. More flaming arrows and, ooh, okay, this is exactly what Kevin needs. He needs at least some sort of cavalry presence. He needs to keep these skirmishers honest. And you know what? Honestly, I mean, besides this batch of Rottleros, there's actually not a lot of anti-cav here. I mean, these Lancers are very good, don't get me wrong, but they're not really built to take on other cavalry units. And Naginata Riders are a pretty good cavalry unit. There are some Dragoons in the back, not nearly enough to be scary. And man, he's getting out a lot of Naggies. And what else has he shipped? Oh, he sent hit points as well. So 20% hit points on Naginatas, plus the disciplined upgrade, that's another 15%. And then plus the Daimyo, which is probably what, another 15, 20 on top of that? These are gonna be really powerful cavalry units. And right now, look at this. I mean, Curter Boy's army, it's a little bit scattered. He's got some skirms over here. He's got the Lancers over here. He's got the rods over here. He's gonna finally group it up, but I don't know. This is still a really scary Spanish army though, right? Kevin has a lot of vision. I mean, that's one thing we can say, right? Is like, Kevin knows the exact makeup of Curter's army. And at this point, Curter has no idea what Kevin has, right? He doesn't know about all these Naggies. Oh my God. Look at this. Look at this army. He's got 28 Naggies with 3 different kinds of upgrades. And now the fight is going. And these rods, I mean, they're just not going to be enough. The Lancers are not going to stand up very well to the Ashigarus. Yeah, the flaming arrows are down, but so are most of the Falconets. There are 2 still in the back, but the Skirmishers are being melted all, plus 19s everywhere, plus 32s. And the Ashigarus are, yes, being attacked by the artillery, but the Skirmishers cannot kite effectively because the Naginatas are being relentless. And all of the anti-cav is dead, the artillery is dead, and these Skirmishers, even if all the Nagis are killed, the Ashies will be able to pursue. They will be able to use that 4.5 speed to constantly harass the skirmishers, and these Lancers, which are expensive units, are not the type of cav that you simply want to sacrifice a 10 more. Reinforcing Nagis entering the map, and this looks like a definitive win for Kevin, for Japan. And if you are a Japan main, boy, it's got to feel good for you seeing him win that fight. And he's even sending Ashy attack on top of this. We're going to see these villagers on the coin mine get obliterated. More skirmishers just walking to their deaths. And I think Curter Boy, he might be typing in the chat right now. I don't know if it's a GG. I hope it is. I don't know if it's a little salt, but there is the resign. I don't think Curter Boy is the type of guy to give salt, but I guess I don't know him super well. But man, what a clean fight by Kevin, dude. I thought that he was in a really bad spot, right? When that army started crossing, before he was starting to get those Nagy numbers up, right? Like, that's when I thought, you know, Curter could have pushed. He could have like taken out the shrines like he did here, but then just immediately crossed, and he would have been in the belly of Kevin's base. And I mean, what would Kevin have done against skirms, falcons, and lancers with pure ashies, right? So I don't know, like, well played by Curter, but maybe just waited too long. But man, that was satisfying, guys. That was satisfying. Let's take a look at it in more detail. Follow me to the post game. All right, folks, here we are in the post game. We'll cover this really quick. Very even resource count from both players. I can tell that the economies were working at pretty steady paces. Shrines versus the double TC. And at the end of the day, it seems like the shrines were the ones that emerged victorious. Of course, Ashies and skirms being the most made units, but it was the use of the units that really came into play. We see this long kind of Cold War, the buildup. We saw, you know, a minor fight by that town center where, you know, the Falconets went down, and then the Flaming Arrows went down, and some Ashies went down, and some Lancers went down. That was just the appetizer, right, for this fight here. Very even militaries, 129 to 123. And at the end of it, I mean, Kevin walks away at his lowest with 61, which he instantly reinforces. And Curter at the same time has 61 as well. But while Kevin reinforces back to 80, Curter goes down to 20. So again, really well played by Kevin. I love seeing high-level Japan, man. That was really fulfilling to me, and I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. I'll be back with another special game in a couple of days, but until then, have a great day, have a great life. See you later.